The story begins with Mary, a young woman enduring immense pain as she struggles in her home. Mary is pregnant, and it seems her baby is ready to arrive. After enduring excruciating labor, she gives birth to a baby girl. However, Mary's emotions are conflicted. She doesn't want the child. In a moment of desperation, she picks up a pair of scissors, intent on ending the baby's life. But just as she looks into the child's innocent eyes, something changes within her. Overwhelmed by the baby's purity and helplessness, Mary cannot go through with her decision. Instead, she chooses to keep the baby, deciding to take on the responsibility of motherhood. The scene shifts to a young girl, Carrie, who radiates innocence. She is the same child Mary gave birth to years ago. One day, while taking a shower, Carrie experiences her first period. Completely unaware of what is happening, as her mother never explained it to her, Carrie becomes extremely frightened and confused. Seeking help, she runs to her friends, but instead of supporting her, they mock her relentlessly. They laugh, throw paper at her, and even record videos of her distress. Overwhelmed and humiliated, Carrie feels utterly alone. To calm the situation, her coach steps in. She slaps Carrie lightly to bring her back to her senses, and then takes her to the principal's office. There, the coach gently explains that what happened is completely normal for every girl, and reassures her that there is no need to panic. She advises Carrie to rest at home if this happens again, and to discuss it with her mother, who can explain everything and provide the guidance she needs. The coach calls Carrie's mother, who arrives shortly afterward to take her home. Here, we learn that Carrie's mother is a deeply religious woman and a devout believer in God. She chastises Carrie, claiming she has become impure and must cleanse herself. She insists that Carrie must enter a room where a statue of Jesus is kept to repent and regain her purity. Carrie resists, unwilling to comply, but her mother forcibly sends her into the room and locks the door from the outside. This treatment leaves Carrie feeling deeply hurt and humiliated. The scene then shifts to Tommy and Hannah. Hannah was present when the other students mocked Carrie and threw paper at her. She feels remorseful for what happened to Carrie and expresses her sadness. Tommy, her boyfriend, reassures her, saying, "It's not your fault." We are then introduced to Emily, the one who filmed the entire humiliating incident. Emily not only recorded Carrie's distress, but also uploaded the video online, further spreading Carrie's humiliation. The next day at college, during their training session, the coach learns about the viral video humiliating Carrie. However, she doesn't know who uploaded it to the internet. Frustrated, the coach announces that everyone involved deserves punishment. She assigns them all the task of running laps on the field. She adds that anyone who refuses will not be invited to the upcoming party and will also be barred from attending her class. After the punishment is announced, most of the girls reluctantly start running laps, but Emily, who was the one behind uploading the video, confronts the coach, saying, "We didn't all do it. Punish the person responsible. I'm not going to do this for something I didn't do." She tries to rally the other girls to support her, but none of them agree with her stance. Seeing Emily's defiance, the coach takes firm action. She bans Emily from attending both the party and her class, leaving Emily isolated and resentful. Carrie's mother drops her off at college, but as soon as she enters, she feels the weight of everyone's stares. Overwhelmed with nervousness, she quietly heads to the restroom. Standing in front of the mirror, she glares at her reflection, and suddenly, the mirror cracks. Surprised but intrigued, Carrie stares at it again, and this time, the shards seem to levitate in the air. She doesn't understand what's happening, but the thrill of the moment excites her. Before she can explore further, another girl enters, prompting Carrie to leave quickly. Meanwhile, Emily, upset over being excluded from both the party and class, arrives at the college with her father, who insists on defending her. He argues with the coach, claiming his daughter is innocent and that there must be some misunderstanding. In response, the coach firmly states, "If your daughter has nothing to hide, she should allow us to check her phone." The video humiliating Carrie was not only recorded but uploaded to social media. When the moment comes for her phone to be checked, Emily hesitates and storms out of the room with a sour expression. She heads to the hall where her friends are busy preparing for the party. Clearly frustrated, she starts venting at them for not supporting her. "I've been kicked out of class in the party, and none of you stood up for me," she exclaims. Emily then turns her frustration toward Hannah, accusing her of abandoning her when she needed support. But Hannah firmly counters, saying, "You made a huge mistake by uploading that video. You should never have done that." The tension between them grows as Emily begins to realize the weight of her actions. When Carrie returns home, she experiments with her newfound powers. She tries to test if what happened earlier was real, and to her surprise, the books around her start levitating. She struggles to control her powers, and soon, the bed she's sitting on begins to float in the air as well. Hearing noises, her mother approaches the room, but by the time she enters, Carrie has fallen asleep. Her mother remains unaware of what transpired. The next morning, Hannah meets her boyfriend Tommy and tells him, "I feel awful about what happened to Carrie. I want you to take her to the party instead of me. It would mean a lot to her, and it might make things right. Tommy, who has never really spoken to Carrie before, hesitates at first but agrees to Hannah's request. Gathering his courage, he approaches Carrie and invites her to the party. When Carrie hears this, she's taken aback. She knows Tommy already has a girlfriend and wonders why he would leave his girlfriend to take her to the party. Suspecting it's all a cruel joke, Carrie becomes upset and walks away. Tommy chases after her and reassures her, saying, "I'm serious, Carrie. I really want you to come to the party with me." But feeling overwhelmed and confused, Carrie finds a quiet spot, sits down, and starts crying, unsure of what to believe or how to react. Carrie decides to share her confusion with her coach, who listens intently. The coach reassures her, saying, "That's wonderful news. Tommy is a genuinely nice guy, and you should go to the party with him. There's nothing wrong with you, Carrie. You just need a little confidence and maybe some makeup." After talking to Carrie, the coach approaches Hannah and Tommy and warns them, "If you're taking Carrie to the party, that's fine, but don't play any cruel jokes on her again. If anything goes wrong, I won't hesitate to suspend both of you from school." Despite Tommy's repeated invitations, Carrie hasn't yet given him a clear answer about attending the party. Hoping for her decision, Tommy shows up near her house to ask again. Carrie is anxious because she doesn't want her mother to catch them talking. To send him away quickly, she says, "Okay, fine. I'll go to the party with you." But this time she truly means it. Carrie genuinely wants to attend the party and is ready to give herself a chance. After coming home, Carrie gathers her courage and asks her mother for permission to attend the party. She even tells her about Tommy, hoping for her approval. However, her mother, deeply suspicious, sternly replies, "You cannot go to that party. Boys these days are no good. You're naive, and he'll only use you and leave you." But Carrie has made up her mind. She is going to the party. Hearing her mother's incessant ranting, she becomes increasingly frustrated, her anger rising to the surface. Unable to control her emotions, strange things start to happen around her. Witnessing this, her mother becomes alarmed and whispers, "It's not you. Something unholy has taken over your body, a spirit or a witch." She insists, "We need to purify you. That's why you're acting like this." Carrie, however, is no longer willing to listen and storms away, determined to do things her way. Meanwhile, we see Emily and her friends scheming at a farm. These troublemakers weren't planning to keep things peaceful at the party. They slaughter a pig and collect its blood, filling a bucket with it. Later, they sneak into the party venue and position the blood-filled bucket directly above the stage, suspending it to execute their nasty plan. On the other hand, Carrie is excitedly preparing for the party. She carefully selects her outfit, wanting to look her best. The day of the college function finally arrives, and everyone is busy dressing up for the big event. Carrie is all set and waiting for Tommy to pick her up. When he arrives, she heads downstairs, but her mother makes one last desperate attempt to stop her from going. Pleading and warning her about the dangers of the world, her mother becomes hysterical. Left with no other option, Carrie uses her newfound powers to calm the chaos. She gently locks her mother in a room with her telekinesis, ensuring she stays safe while Carrie makes her own choices. Stepping out confidently, Carrie meets Tommy, and the two head to the college function together, ready for the night ahead. At the party, where everyone expected Hannah to be, Carrie was now taking her place. This left many attendees surprised and curious. Tommy, unbothered by the whispers, took Carrie to the dance floor, where they shared a moment of joy. Meanwhile, Emily, with her devious plan in motion, was lurking around, ready to unleash chaos. The highlight of the event was the crowning of the party's king and queen. Votes were being cast to determine the most charming pair of the night, who would then go on stage to share a few words and receive their prize. Everyone eagerly awaited the results, but Emily had her own sinister agenda. Emily messaged Hannah during the event, taunting her with the message, "Your girl Carrie looks great, but she won't stay that way for long." Reading the text, Hannah immediately sensed trouble. Knowing Emily's mischievous nature, she rushed to the party to stop her. Upon arriving, Hannah spotted Emily near the stage and realized she was plotting something terrible against Carrie. Just as Hannah was about to intervene, the coach stepped in. Misinterpreting Hannah's intentions, the coach led her away and locked her in a room to prevent any interference with Tommy and Carrie. Hannah, frustrated but helpless, could only hope that Carrie's magical night wouldn't turn into a nightmare. As the king and queen of the party were announced, Carrie and Tommy's names echoed through the hall. They stepped onto the stage to receive their crowns, looking radiant and happy. But Emily, unable to control her jealousy and frustration, decided it was time to strike. She pulled the rope, and a bucket full of blood came crashing down, drenching Carrie completely. The hall fell silent in shock as everyone stared at the blood-soaked Carrie. She stood frozen, her face a mixture of disbelief and devastation. To make matters worse, Emily's cruel prank wasn't over. The video Emily had uploaded earlier was projected on the screen, replaying Carrie's humiliation for everyone to see. As Carrie processed the betrayal, a tragic accident occurred. The bucket, now unbalanced, fell and hit Tommy on the head, knocking him unconscious. Seeing Tommy in such a state pushed Carrie over the edge. The anger and humiliation she had buried for so long erupted like a volcano, and her hidden powers took over. The hall descended into chaos as Carrie unleashed her fury. Lights flickered, objects flew across the room, and the doors slammed shut, trapping everyone inside. People screamed and scrambled to escape, but there was no way out. Panic spread like wildfire as the room turned into a nightmare. In the midst of the chaos, a girl's dress caught fire, and despite her desperate attempts, she couldn't save herself. Carrie's rage blinded her to the distinction between friend and foe. Even her coach, who had tried to help her earlier, wasn't spared. Carrie threw her across the room with a flick of her power, leaving behind the burning hall and the terrified crowd. After leaving the chaos behind, Carrie spots Emily trying to escape in her car with her boyfriend. Seeing Emily, Carrie immediately understands that everything that happened was because of her. Fueled by anger, Carrie decides not to let them get away. She uses her powers to chase the car and tries to cause an accident. However, Emily's boyfriend manages to hit the brakes just in time. When they try to reverse the car, they are horrified to find Carrie standing right in front of them. In desperation, they think about running her over, but things take a turn for the worse. Carrie uses her powers to stop the car, lifting it off the ground. As a result, the sudden stop injures Emily's boyfriend. Emily, seeing an opportunity, tries to start the car and flee, but Carrie doesn't allow it. She uses her powers to hurl the car into an oil tank. The car crashes, and Emily meets a grim end. Still, Carrie's anger hasn't subsided. From a distance, she sets the car ablaze, causing a massive explosion that leaves nothing behind. Without wasting another moment, Carrie returns home and cleans herself. Furious and heartbroken, she confronts her mother. Her mother looks at her and says, "I warned you, didn't I? But the evil force inside you is driving you to do all this. It's making you lose control. That force needs to be removed from you." After saying this, her mother, overwhelmed with worry and believing she must save Carrie, begins to perform a ritual she thinks will free her daughter from the dark powers. Carrie, desperate to stop her mother, tries to hold her back using her abilities, leading to an unintended accident that leaves her mother gravely hurt. Realizing the gravity of what has happened, Carrie is filled with regret and sorrow. She attempts to help her mother, trying everything she can to make things right, but her efforts come too late. Her mother passes away peacefully. This tragic moment leaves Carrie alone, filled with guilt and sadness, as the story concludes with a somber reflection on misunderstanding and loss.